Where are you going to put it?
In the folder.
In the folder. Folder. Okay. Hello, we're back. We just got to do one thing. Why can't I ever find any of the... Okay, there it is. You didn't put it in the folder?
I haven't yet.
What's up, Arjar? Long time no see. How you been? How are all the things? We're just getting set up for the main show here. Oh, good call. Okay, we're just trying to get this going.
What's up, Arjar?
What's the name of that thing you just sent?
Group out of embargo.
Group.
Yeah, I hear that, Arjar.
What's happening?
They said they're doing okay, but they're missing everyone from Unholy Alliance.
Don't get me started on that, dude.
You'll get Marshall crying in his beer.
Well, we can't talk about it this week. Actually, we can't talk about it for a couple weeks, but we'll have an update soon, Arjar. Are you going to be around for Extra Life? That's still a thing. All right.
Have you figured out how to play bumpers yet?
Yeah, I have to have this going. Hear that? Well, let's see. I'm sure everybody can hear that madness. Good. I hope you're going to be there. I will have the bumpers figured out by next week. I just haven't had time to sit down.
No, it doesn't matter to me.
It's actually been a little easier just slicing them in because actually a lot of times I got to cut it out anyway because of the feedback and various other things. But
oh, really?
Eventually I'll get my tech figured out a little bit better. But all right, man. So
you'll get your what figured out?
My tech.
Oh,
what did you think I said? And don't answer that. Seriously, don't answer that. All right.
I thought you said your.
All right. We're going to go. Ready?
I love you.
Shh. It's quiet time for you. All right. You ready for... We got that. We got that. We got that in there. Okay. We're good. All right. Here we go. Don't you dare give me that look. Hello and welcome to episode 147 of the Usual Podcast, a podcast where we discuss Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Star Wars franchise, and geek and pop culture. I'm your host Marshall, and with me, hiding behind our brand new, sort of borrowed pop filters, is my co-host Will. What's up, bro? How you doing?
What up, homie? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, except you're making weird faces and making me mess up my intro.
That's what I do.
And we're just sitting here enjoying our usual frosty beverages. Or what you drinking, bro?
Well, evidently this is the last Newcastle in the house, so I'm going to have to get something new for next week.
Or buy more Newcastle. It's a simple problem.
Dude, I've got a jug of Kraken in the RV.
Do you really?
It's the jug from Comic-Con.
You still have that?
Yeah.
Why is it not in the house?
Because I keep forgetting. I almost brought it in tonight.
I thought your brother had that.
No, I took it.
Dude, next week's Kraken week. Oh, and next week, even though he doesn't know yet, we're going to get old John Skeen back on this bad boy.
You know, I will be drinking a Kraken and Coke next week.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. So anyway, I'm drinking, since you're asking, I'm drinking a Hot Bullet Double IPA, which I know you didn't, which is why I'm saying it, which I've had before, which is back, which I love.
You very rarely drink from the can.
Yeah, but I'm double drinking tonight.
Yeah, you
That
are.
might be the name of the episode. I'm also drinking in honor of, thank you for Brightside Guardian, who is in the chat room tonight. One of my friends from the Writing Excuses Retreat from the cruise boat.
Is this my replacement?
This is your replacement. You're welcome. I'm drinking the Glenlivet in honor of the WXR bar.
Brightside, what makes you think I won't cut you?
Okay. Well, let's not threaten our new audience, buddy. So before we get started, if you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Will is at I'm Will Griggs. We're on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and Plex. So take the time to give us a positive rating and like us and share us. Tell your friends on the social medias and such. That's nice if you do that.
Word.
We like that. Let's see. Don't forget to pick up your usual podcast gear at teespring.com/store/usual podcast. All kinds of stuff on there, right?
Yeah, lots of stuff. We've got
And the Extra Life things on there as well.
yes. The most important thing is go to teespring.com/TUP for the number 4 kids. It's TUP for kids, and that'll get you the shirt that we made for Extra Life, and all of our proceeds go to Extra Life.
Levels are off. It's annoying me. Anyway, that's great.
You're great.
I'm just muttering things I'm going to edit out later, which is stupid. All right. So also we have the timestamps in the show notes. If you are not a SWTOR fan or if you're new to the show, we are going to start with SWTOR. We're not going to spend a ton of time on it. We actually don't have a huge show this week, even though we did miss last week, and I have a good reason for that, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, man. So I'm excited. If you're not watching live, we do our best. Well, if you're watching live, we do our best to keep an eye on chat. So jump in there.
Yeah, please talk with us.
Say things.
Join the conversation, as
Okay.
they say.
All right, don't get aggressive about it.
Be aggressive. Be
No,
aggressive.
That's not okay. All right, so the first thing we want to do before we get to our SWTOR section is acknowledge our drinking buddies, who are the people that contribute to our show on Patreon, patreon.com/usual podcast. And those people are
John Skeen.
Mr. John Skeen, who we talked about, who will be on the show next week. Eddie, who lives down the street, which I still can't get him on the show.
He actually contacted me about what shirt he wants, so he'll be getting his new Star Wars pod. I almost said Pod Save America. Sorry, he's getting the Star Wars Pucked 3 Cantina shirt.
Nice. Good for him. Awesome. And Zen, of course, who contributes to all of our awesomeness when it comes down to San Diego Comic-Con.
Absolutely, Zen is awesome.
Can you do me a favor? Can you just put the filter just a little closer and just be a little closer to the mic? That'd be just a little bit. Thanks.
How's that?
That's so much better. Thanks, buddy. Behind the scenes live podcasting. Isn't this great? You got Nick Ron in there. Oh, God. This is going to be a shit show. Okay, moving on. Star Wars The Old Republic time, dude. Community shout-outs. SWTOR Unite is the big one. Okay, and this is... I have a link in the show notes to it, even though I can't get around my own new equipment. We have a link in the show notes to it. This is our podcaster live stream.
Yes.
That's going to happen on November 10th. It's an all podcast stream of Gods from the Machine. I recently got the news between last time we recorded, I'm going to be tanking that. Which, one, never done that entire operation. Two, a little rusty. So I'll be tanking one of 2 tanks. I'll be on my assassin. That should be entertaining as hell.
You're going to stand in fire.
I'm going to stand in all the things and take the brunt of all the things. It's going to be fun. So I do have a link in the show notes to Dr. SWTOR's tweet. He's tagged everybody. There's some cool graphics in there. So definitely check it out. It's pretty much most of the podcasting community that's still hanging around. What's up, Steve?
Steve is in the chat for the first time in weeks.
So that's happening. I'm really excited about that. The very next week, I believe, is Extra Life. So we'll have more. We'll talk more about that next week.
Real cool. And actually, going back to Kraken really quick,
Back to
because
Kraken.
next week is going to be Kraken week.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
Kraken Week. I thought
So
it was some official holiday I missed.
So thanks to Steve for buying that for us at Comic-Con.
Thanks, Steve. Apparently, Will has been hoarding it in his RV. And it hasn't been in my house. I could have used that on the golf course, sir. Which I'll get to soon.
If I brought it into the house, it'd be gone by now.
Moving on. All right, what? I feel like you're accusing me of things. Don't you dare say it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to put in here, since we're talking... Yes, it's story mode, Arjar. You're right. We'll be fine. I just, I was supposed to be DPS, which actually would have been a little bit more hilarious.
Marshall falls asleep at bottom of elevators.
All right. That happened one time.
Yeah, but it's still funny.
I was drinking a lot that night.
Yeah, you were.
All right, so BioWare Community Coordinator. So BioWare, this is a job for SWTOR that is basically going to be a... Let me put it this way. BioWare Austin is searching for a community coordinator to support Star Wars The Old Republic. So this is basically another person they're looking for to help support Eric Musco in the community.
You know, I might actually apply for this job if it didn't mean I'd have to give up the podcast.
Well, you would have to give it the podcast and move to Austin, Texas.
The Austin thing, not so much. It's too warm.
Okay. Are you done not applying for a job?
Yeah, good point.
But what I like about this is that they're looking for someone to help with the community stuff.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We have the influencers. We've got a lot of people out there that could use some more support. And I'm hoping that they find the right person and it works out really well.
Absolutely.
So if you are that person, if they paid $1 million, I might apply for it. But it's a lot of uprooting and children and business and
yeah. The influencer group right now is acting very much like Audrey 2 in Little Shop of Horrors. We're like, feed me, Seymour. We want more stuff from BioWare.
Actually, I didn't know where you were going with that for a second, but I support that you went there.
So I'm hoping to hire somebody named Seymour, because then we can say, feed me, Seymour.
See, you had me for a second.
I love you.
I hate you. All right, so Weekend Game, my friend. What have you been doing?
I actually decided to jump on my Jedi Counselor, and I decided that he had not been through Oricon or Section X yet.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, I got on, and he still actually, I haven't even taken him through any of the Shadow of Revan stuff.
Right.
So he still has all his original companions, and Nico Arkar and Shay Vizsla. And so Shay is his main companion at a level 3.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And he was command rank 2. And so I finished Section X, and all of a sudden he's 11. So
good.
Woohoo.
You're really doing it.
Yeah, it's just fun.
That's great. I have not got much of a chance to play, but I have decided, because I am getting I'm lucky enough to tank this crazy fight that's coming up. I'm gonna transfer my main over and just probably transfer it back. I'm just gonna.
Oh, makes sense.
I'm just gonna do that. I don't have time to start something on there and get the gear going.
Yeah, it'd just be too much work.
Yeah, I have good gear with my main right now, so I'd rather go in there ready to go. So that's my goal.
Nice.
So I'm working on doing that, and I played some golf, man.
I heard.
Yeah,
why don't you tell the crowd how you did?
Well, we didn't record last week, and I'm going to try to keep this short. We didn't record last week, and mostly because I was leaving town, and it's a series of events they're called Net Amateur Qualifiers. We started at Little River. I won there. Me and another guy, the greenskeeper at Little River, we went and went to play at Berkeley at Tilden Park.
Right, I remember that.
I tied for second. He got fourth. So that put us to 2 rounds of championship golf at
where?
Poppy Hills in
Pebble Beach.
In Pebble Beach.
Nice.
So I was there the last couple of days. Actually, it was Monday and Tuesday. And I had left a couple days before that and had some stuff going on.
And how did you do?
So I played well the first day, moderately well. I was in 5th place going into day 2.
Good.
And
you're on the leaderboard.
And I was on the leaderboard. I was in the second to last group, and I did not have a great start. I was 5 over after 2 holes, which I was like, okay, it's just gonna be one of those days.
It's very Tiger of you.
Yeah. So, and it was just really a series of bad breaks. It wasn't that I was hitting bad shots.
Right.
I just was in some spots. But long and short of it is, I shot 47 on the front, and that was one worse than the day before. I was like, okay, well, we'll see what I do on the back. I went on a string of bogeys and pars, ended up shooting 89 at a course at Poppy Hills.
Nice.
And ended up taking second place by only 1 stroke. The guy in my group got first.
Nice.
He had like 2 birdies on the front, and he was killing it. He was like 4 strokes behind me going into the second day. So
wow.
He played really well. But it was great, man. I've never done anything like that. I got a freaking medal. I'm going to show the folks. I got a freaking
That's awesome.
medal. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun playing some golf right now. So
it's been years since I've been golfing.
And I think the last time was with me.
At Dairy Creek.
at Dairy Creek in San Luis. But
And I tweaked my back.
yeah, that wasn't a good day. But anyway, I've been having a lot of fun, and I'm sorry we missed last week, but we'll try to get a little more consistent. We're going to the holidays right now, but we'll have a lot of other announcements coming down the pipe. So.
Yes. That was really not well done. No, we will definitely have some more announcements coming up.
I thought you might add some to that.
Yeah, because we do have Dynamite drop in.
Yeah,
we have. We've got the Extra Life stuff coming up, and we might be having some changes to our own podcast. But
there's a lot of things
there's a lot of stuff in flux right now.
And this has to do with the game. It has to do with
Personal life.
It has to do with a lot of things. But we're not going anywhere. Don't worry. And in fact, we're going to get Skeen on the show hopefully next week. And we're going to keep trucking forward, man.
Awesome. Because we're actually getting new mics. So
yeah, we're getting new mics. Well, we have these new mics.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. Moving on. Okay. SWTOR news. The PTS is live. And this has to do with the live stream, which I'm not going to talk about because this was a little over a week ago now. I had a discussion topic, and I think we're just going to kind of gloss over it. But you can check it out at SWTOR, twitch.tv/SWTOR. The live stream was great. It was fun. That was in lieu of their community cantina. Remember that they had to cancel from New York Comic-Con?
Which they did share a code, so we might as well share with that. If you go to redeem a code, and it's SW Cantina 2018, you'll get a cool flare, which is the first flare I've actually used.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. So the PTS is live, and basically right now they're testing only a few things right now. Really, all that's on there is the Master Mode Gods from the Machine, Veteran Mode Gods from the Machine, and Story Mode Gods from the Machine. In the coming weeks, they're going to have PvP Challenge, the OSIS Daily Area, the guild leveling and the perks, guild management updates, and conquest changes, which is stuff that's supposed to be coming down soon. But the thing they're not going to put on there is the new story. They're not going to put
They don't want to
Jedi
put that in
Siege.
they don't want to put that in the PTS.
Right. So that stuff's coming. I also have a link in the show notes for the list of the Gods from the Machine balance changes for 5.10. I'm not going to go through all of that. It's very specific set of people that anybody would care about. So check that out. I have a link in the show notes if you're interested. Obviously, you've probably already seen it. It's a major list of all of the changes coming to that particular operation in 5.10.
Cool.
Okay? There's also a link that the devs put up, how to get geared for the PTS. How to get geared to do an operation on the PTS, I should say. So that's a cool link. Check that out. And there was a couple of other random things. People trying to get schedules together for an operation. I forgot what this was. This is Musco saying, if you're planning on running Gods from the Machine on any difficulty, they want to know. So let them know when they're going to do it, what difficulty, if they've cleared it before, and any other details they want to share about the group.
And this is for people running it on the PTS.
On the PTS, exactly. So, and they said Matt might join you, which is
wow.
cool. Yeah. So, all right, man. So I don't want to spend a ton of time on SWTOR this week, mostly because the things that are out there have already been out there. The live stream was great. It was actually a lot of fun. I was in it for a bit. I fell asleep for a little bit. I was really tired that day. But I watched it. Yeah, I watched it. It was good. And
cool.
And I don't know. That's really all I have to say about it. They were just talking about what was upcoming. They didn't say a whole lot of details, but at the same time, it was kind of fun listening to the guys chat about them.
Yeah, one thing I noticed in the after discussion on Twitter, not that BioWare wasn't doing it after, just the chat that was happening on Twitter afterwards.
Yeah.
That they had a little tiny character in the video stream somewhere that was going to be a new or a secret character that's coming out.
Oh, right.
And SWTORista found it.
Yeah, nice.
So.
Good for her. She's awesome, by the way. I hope she comes back to San Diego.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, man. So should we just get out of SWTOR? I mean, I feel like next week we're going to have a little bit more to announce as far as Extra Life.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks we'll have a little bit of SWTOR, but there's really not going to be much past that.
No. I mean, we know what's coming, and the content's getting a little more sparse, and so we'll have some announcements coming up.
All right.
I promise.
But now it's time to go pew, 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 pew.
I'm a little worried about this section today.
Yeah, okay. We always bury the lead. Okay,
Hold on. We are burying the lead, and while you talk about burying the lead, I'm going to change my stuff.
really, there's not a lot of Star Wars news today. And actually, I'm going to do the fluff stuff first. We only have one thing, and it's actually come out that the Star Wars Resistance cartoon, which has just started, is actually going to overlap The Force Awakens.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so unlike when Rogue One just basically met up with the beginning of A New Hope,
And stopped right before.
these are actually going to overlap.
Okay.
So I'm guessing what's going to happen is Resistance is going to end, or at least explain the whole thing with Poe Dameron on Jakku getting the map piece.
Well, and I was just gonna say too, you have those characters like Poe Dameron and stuff like that
Already in Resistance.
already in the Resistance. So, how is that going to transition it as the timelines overlap? So,
Exactly.
are we gonna see him? Are we gonna see him trying to find Laura Santeca and stuff right before, or that kind of thing? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the only basic fluff news we have. The major news is coming out of
Yeah.
Star Wars, and actually, we're talking about this in Star Wars, but it's technically a Marvel story.
Sure.
And what it is that Chuck Wendig, who wrote and this is why we're talking about it in Star Wars, he wrote the Aftermath trilogy.
Yes.
And he was just about to do a comic run of Shadows of Revan.
Right.
Or not Shadows,
No,
Shadows
not
of
Revan.
Vader.
Yeah.
Shadows of Vader. And they just announced that at New York Comic Con.
Right.
But Marvel fired him. And took the Shadows of Vader off the schedule. And on top of that, he was actually he had just finished the 3rd issue of a 5-issue arc of something else he's writing.
Right.
And they got him off of that, and they're bringing in somebody else to finish it. And basically, Marvel's reasoning is that he was too vulgar on social media.
Okay.
There's a whole political side to this, and it involves Gamersgate, and I really don't want to get into that all that much.
Right.
Just basically know that it's two groups of people in the gaming or Comicsgate, in the comics community, that believe that change is inevitable and there should be more diversity in the comic structure and comic stories and comic experience overall. And then people that say that comics shouldn't be used as a political tool.
Sure.
Okay, that's the basic argument. Now, Chuck Wendig is very left-wing in his policies,
Right.
in his beliefs, and he's very vulgar to those on the other side. And I understand that. And so this is where it's like the whole James Gunn thing again.
And that to me, that's how this feels.
Yeah, the frustrating thing about this, though, is that Chuck Wendig's always been this way.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this for years on his blog, on his Twitter, everything. So it's not like it's all of a sudden.
It's not new.
Exactly. So I really don't know what Marvel's reasoning is. But then the tricky part
Do
is,
you feel like this is a residual from the James Gunn thing? They're kind of like, well, we got rid of him. We should get rid of
it's
him
kind of getting
too?
in that trouble of having a zero tolerance policy.
And
It's hard to have a zero tolerance. And so, but
Yeah.
the major upshot of this is that it's just Marvel, because he still writes for Del Rey, which is the publisher for Star Wars
for the
books.
Star Wars books, yeah.
And basically his editor from Del Rey basically said, "You're fine here.
Yeah,
Like Lucasfilm is not coming at you for anything.
for sure.
It's just Marvel."
Yeah. And if it's just Marvel, that does make more sense, because obviously James Gunn, that's Marvel.
Exactly. And that's why I think it is kind of tied into the James Gunn thing. And the thing
What
is,
are they, I'm just trying to figure out, and I'm not trying to cut you off. I just feel like where's the line? Okay, I can see if he's coming across as I guess abusive to, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, and no,
there are
and-
levels to.
yeah, and if you read his tweets,
discourse.
they are abusive.
Okay.
It's not like he's just calling him stupid. I mean, he's calling him vulgar names and stuff like that.
Okay. Well,
So I totally understand it, but the two main problems I have with it is, one is that again, he's been this way the whole time.
yeah.
And you just announced. I mean, it's not like you learned after the announcement at New York Comic Con that this was happening. You knew
Right,
the whole
right,
time.
right.
It's not like James Gunn where the tweets just resurfaced after 10
After
years.
10 years, yeah.
But the other thing is that this is always the side gig anyways.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually didn't come up through the comics structure.
Right.
He came over as a writer for Del Rey.
He's a writer, he's a novelist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so doing the comics was just always a side gig for him.
And this gets me to my other point too. Is when I came out of that writing retreat, I started following a lot more of the authors that were on that boat, and people around them,
the whole universe.
And a lot of them came out vocally in support of Wendig.
Exactly.
And just like, he's an amazing writer. He's this, he's that. And, it's like, this is a weird situation for me to comment on, only in that because I teach digital media to high schoolers,
yes,
I always talk about, okay, be careful what you post online. You don't want to come across overly negative. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. And in the context of talking about that stuff, I say these things follow you around,
Yeah, basically,
and your employers will check your social media. Right?
Yeah, this is basically the entire argument of like anything you post online is going to be considered in a job interview.
Right.
So Wendig knew this coming up, but again, like I said, this was not his established profession.
Right. And I don't, and what it sounds like, it doesn't sound like it's going to affect him outside of the comics thing.
Yeah, it's just that he won't be doing comics.
Right.
I doubt. I mean, it could impact sales probably or something, but I'm not too concerned. I don't think he's that concerned about it. He'd be, if you follow his tweets at all, he'd be like, good. I don't want them buying my book.
Yeah, it's and that's the thing. So I don't know, man.
I've actually, I forgot. I've actually met Chuck Wendig. I met him at Phoenix Comic Con a couple years ago, and I had him sign a poster of the Aftermath book.
What do you think? Is it a little bit of kind of what do you think? Because Nick does bring up a good point.
He does. Okay, basically what Nick's asking is if it was a right-wing person, would the consequences be the same?
Right.
From Marvel, yes, I think the consequences would be the same.
Sure.
Now, the real question is in the court of public opinion, would they be any different? The thing is, this goes to the whole Comicsgate argument, and there are people on both sides that are already speaking this way.
Yeah.
And yes, his tweets are very extreme and very abusive. But there's people on the other side doing it too. And I'm not doing the whole argument there's fine people on both sides. No, I'm actually saying that there's already precedent for that on both sides.
Yeah.
And the public opinion is going to happen where it is regardless. What we're needing to really look into on our point of view is how it affects him professionally.
Yeah, and
if it was somebody from the right wing who was doing the same sort of tweets, I don't think Marvel would have handled it any different.
No, and
actually, that's actually an argument that came up if you read in the third link in our show notes that you'll be able to see later. Is the head of Marvel is actually a very big Trump supporter and friend of Donald Trump, and he actually helps with the Department of Veteran Affairs.
Yeah.
So,
it's interesting to me, man. I this whole thing I've been kind of hearing about and kind of not engaging with. Honestly, just I've been kind of all over the place, and I know it's been happening. I just don't. Honestly, I think this really, for me, just comes back to, okay. And actually, Nick, I don't know if he was there during this talk on the boat, but how do you market yourself?
Exactly. That's what it is.
How do you differentiate between your professional self and your private life? Like, right. Do you have, and I'm not just saying having separate accounts. I'm saying, how do you carry yourself online? And the problem with having an online presence, period, and this is why how many famous people have dropped off of social media because of they're being abused or they don't want to deal with stuff or whatever it is. But how do you differentiate that? And from an employer perspective, it's like, that's your name is attached to it. That's you. But right. You can't say, well, that's my account where I'm a human person, and this is my writer account.
Exactly. And that's why we're just talking about the professional side of things, right. Is that to your employer, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's still your voice.
Well, and when you're talking about a franchise like a Marvel or a Star Wars,
exactly.
or whatever that
There's
is,
no one person that's more important than the whole.
I mean, you think of all the controversy around Solo, for example, and this is why we're in the Star Wars section talking about this. With Solo, I mean, granted, you know, Ron Howard picked it up, and it did fine. But it's considered a failure,
which is so funny because it's
an outright failure.
It's still a top 10 movie of the year.
Sure, but it's in the grand scheme of what they had plans for. It's a failure, and I think it had a lot to do with you changed directors, you had bad press around it, and then you had reshoots and a new director and all this other stuff, and it came out later, and all this other stuff happened, and it was essentially a flop from your employer.
Right, exactly. And the funny thing about this is where it kind of goes back to the public opinion thing, but the public is much more involved on the day-to-day stuff of what goes on behind the scenes than they ever have been before.
Right.
So, which is why when Solo came out, or when Rogue One was reshot, or when Justice League was reshot. I was
worried about the Rogue One, so that worked out.
It did, but regardless of that, those happen on most major movies. Mm-hmm. Because they have the money to do it.
Right.
I mean, do you not think that?
Why would you not go back and make it right?
Exactly. Do you not think that Kevin Smith, if he had an extra $10,000 on Clerks, would have reshot something that looked wrong? Exactly. He would have done it. But Marvel and Lucasfilm and DC and Warner Brothers, they have the cash to be able to say, hey, we're going to drop the extra couple $1 million and bring everybody back in for a week and a half to get this shot right.
Right. So
the thing is, it's always been that way. It's just now we know it because there's day-to-day updates.
And not only that, man. I mean, while we're going on this little rant, especially let's look at the divisiveness with Last Jedi, for example. Right? It's divisive because most of us are sitting there saying, well, hardcore Star Wars fans, or however you want to call yourself, are saying, well, that's not my Luke, or this isn't what I would do, and this isn't what I would do.
Right.
So now all of a sudden I hate this thing that I've always loved. And everybody has a say because everybody has a platform.
Exactly.
Right? And everybody having a platform makes the employers of these people cringe when a bulk of folks, and I like to call them a vocal minority a lot of the time, say, oh my God, did you hear what they said? And then now you have to react to it.
To kind of bring it full circle back to SWTOR.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about when, like 3 or 4 years ago when we were at our heyday.
Yeah.
It was the vocal minority of the Raiders.
Yeah.
The
Nightmare Raiders.
The Nightmare Raiders.
Yeah.
That were just the loudest screamers in the room, and so therefore they were the ones being heard.
Right. And I'm not saying nobody should be heard. I'm saying we're at a time where everybody literally can be heard.
Yes.
And everybody's trying to listen to everybody. And could you imagine being an executive sitting in a room like, well, these folks are saying this, these folks are saying this, these are saying this, and did you hear what Chuck Wendig said?
Yeah.
Like, well, shit, now what do we do?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And wait, what happened with James Gunn? What did he say? And I feel like the James Gunn thing is a bit of more of a knee-jerk reaction. I think the Chuck Wendig thing is just kind of a new sign of what's to come. We got to be careful, and people have to be careful with what they post online. Period. And like I said, you can be as political as you want, but know that your personal life and your professional life is going to be linked with social media for sure.
Right. Exactly.
Regardless of how much you want it to be.
Yeah, and basically, my whole argument with this is, well, no, I won't
Thanks
say
for
argument.
agreeing with me, Nick. Thank you.
I won't say argument. My whole viewpoint on this is that the freedom of speech does not protect you from freedom from consequences.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right?
No.
So, and this goes back, James Gunn, Chuck Wendig, Bill Maher 20 years ago, Alex Jones just this last year, everybody who loses their platform, you're not losing your voice, you're losing your platform. The Constitution does not protect your platform or protects your voice.
And the people who are providing that platform
have the choice
of, oh, I think we're done with you, buddy.
Yeah.
And Roseanne. I mean, there's all of these things that have been happening, and Nick, thank you for supporting me. Is saying it's it's something going on in our society in general because of the machine that is social media.
Right.
And I think it's going to play out in some really interesting ways, I think, going forward.
Yeah, and actually it reminds me of the episode of Black Mirror and the episode of Orville where it actually did impact people's lives.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one...
in a very real way.
It's that episode, I think we're talking about the same one, the really haunting one where it's like, I'm literally rating you, looking at you in the eyes and rating you, and like my interaction with you. Like, that is a terrifying way to live.
Right, because...
but in some way, we are living that.
Yeah, well, because like if you wanted to, like say you didn't like what you heard on the news. Right. You had to either write a letter or call the station, whatever, and it might get to somebody. Exactly. But now you tweet about it.
Yeah.
And everybody's in, it could go, and this is actually reminds me a lot of the famous Mark Twain quote of a light can make halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put his shoes on.
Speaking of which is hilarious. When you mentioned the tweet thing, Kevin Smith, I don't know if you listened to his rant about, not rant, but he was going up to Vancouver to film Supergirl.
Right.
And he got to the hotel he always stays at. It's a high-end 5-star deal. And they gave his room away.
Oh, I didn't hear this story.
He got there an hour, like at midnight, and they had given his room away by that time because he had a red-eye flight.
Right.
And they tried to give him some excuse about, your people said that you were coming in, your production company said this and this. And he's like, no, you just basically gave it away. So they gave him another room, right?
Right.
One where they were doing construction outside and stuff. And this was an hour later they're trying to find stuff. Long and the short of it is that next morning he goes to Jennifer. He says, I'm going to send a tweet right now. And he sent a picture of the outside of his, because it's just garbage because they were destroying another room.
Right.
And he says, she's all, well, you're not that powerful. He's all, how quickly do you think we get a room change? Or a room is ready. He sent the tweet. He said 4 minutes later, he got a phone call saying, oh, Mr. Smith, your room is ready.
Oh, geez.
And the power of, I mean, granted, we're not Kevin Smith, but when you add something like I added, American Airlines because I was pissed at them,
right.
And I got a response.
And it's become a verb. Yeah. Don't at me.
I added them because I was pissed. You know
exactly.
what I mean? So it's really interesting to see kind of how this shakes out. And
it's fantastic because it gives voice to the minority.
It does.
But
are you calling me a minority? I'm just kidding.
I hate you so much.
Anyway, we should wrap this up and move on to our next section. But I'm glad that we did talk about this. I'm really interested to see how things are going forward with some of these things. And I am a little worried that some of the bigger companies are going to be. I don't want more knee-jerk reactions like James Gunn. I think the James Gunn thing was blown up, but I think that this story is a residual of that.
Yeah, I think James Gunn was a knee-jerk, but because of the extreme way they handled James Gunn, they had to handle this way. So it basically didn't give them any outs.
Right. All right, man.
All right, let's move on to the usual roundup.
Thanks, chat room, for bearing with us on that. I thought that might happen, and I'm a ranter.
Yeah, well, we didn't get too political about it. We were just trying to state the fact.
Yeah, and I think that's important, considering, people probably know where we lie politically anyway after all these years, but
right.
I don't think that was really the point of that conversation.
No, not at all.
So, anyway, good job, dude. Are we patting ourselves in the back, or what?
Okay. Pat.
Pat.
Pew, 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 pew,
no, I'm looking for my other title, dude. There it is. Okay, so usual roundup time. We only have a few stories, but I love some of these stories. All right, so let's talk about. We're talking about Disney first.
Yeah, don't have a lot of news about Disney, the Disney parks, because we're in our walk in the park section.
Oh, sorry, I missed it.
But there was a special on Freeform, which is formerly ABC Family. And it's a special that was on last Sunday called Decorating Disney Halloween Magic. And, the Disney parks do shows every once in a while about that. But basically what this is behind the scenes look at how Disney transforms everything for Halloween. Mm-hmm. So it's turning Haunted Mansion into the Jack Skellington thing. Occasionally they turn Space Mountain into Spooktacular or something. Right. They put the big jack-o'-lantern out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So,
question.
Yes.
Is this out now?
Yeah, well, it was on Freeform last Sunday, so you can get it on the Freeform website, I'm sure.
Cool. Okay, Can I just tell you,
Yes.
as a lover of the Disney, I love just about anything that has to do with what Disney does, like building the parks or changing things. And,
Yeah, well, there's a
that
whole
kind of
series of stuff that they do called the Disney Parks series, and they've done 2 specials on the cruise ships, and they actually did a Whoopi Goldberg hosted a special last year on how they transformed for Christmas.
Oh,
How they did I just added it to Plex.
Ooh.
How they do, the bubble snow, and how they actually the first like 15 minutes is all about how they change the caps on the castle so it looks like there's been snow, and all the lights and everything.
Do you know how happy I would be if I could watch that tonight?
Well, you should
I will.
when I get home.
Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah,
This you knew was coming.
Yeah, well, now we're in Crossing the Streams, which is where we talk about stuff on streaming networks.
We knew this was coming.
We did. Netflix has officially canceled Iron Fist. They're not picking it up for a 3rd season.
Now, I didn't watch season 2 yet.
It's getting better reviews.
Great, but I'm curious. I wonder how they ended it. I'm wondering.
They actually ended it on a cliffhanger.
Oh, perfect.
But a couple things about this.
Are they doing the Defenders too?
That hasn't been decided yet.
Okay.
But the big thing to remember here is that the choice of whether to air something or cancel something is Netflix's decision. This wasn't Marvel pulling the plug because they thought they had a weak story or something.
Right. No,
this is Netflix just saying, hey, and you know what also has to tie into Netflix's decision is, okay, we've already started a 3rd round of shows. We've already, Daredevil comes out Friday.
Oh, is it already Friday?
Yeah,
Shoot.
Daredevil comes out tomorrow.
I can't wait.
Jessica Jones is already filming.
Right.
They're just about to pick up Luke Cage for a 3rd season. Punisher just finished filming season 2.
Oh, did it? Okay, good.
They're going to announce release after Daredevil, I'm sure, because they don't want to, to eat up the promotion time.
Sure.
But I think they're just because they have to start thinking out a year in advance. Why would they start filming Iron Fist now when it's not going to come out for another 6 to 7 months?
True.
And that's about when the streaming service for Disney's going to start. They're going to start wanting to pull everything over there.
Right.
So for Netflix, it doesn't make money. It doesn't make sense monetarily because they might have access to the content for a month or so.
Yeah.
So what would be the point for them?
But I guess the remaining question is, does that mean this is the very end of Iron Fist?
No, because actually the person who's in charge from Marvel said that Iron Fist and Colleen Wing can easily be pulled into the other series.
Okay, neat.
So it's very similar to like them pulling somebody from like pulling Maria Hill into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm behind on that stuff. Not to mention the Berlanti stuff, but I really want to finish Jessica Jones. I haven't had a lot of time to sit and watch a show by myself.
Right.
And those are the shows like the wife doesn't watch a lot of those. So anyway, all right, man. So Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, it actually just got announced yesterday, I believe, that Orange is the New Black is going to get canceled after its 7th season.
Howdy, Hobo.
What's up, Hobo Jesus?
Hobo Jesus.
Yeah, so Orange is the New Black was just released its 6th season a month or 2 ago.
Yeah, it was recent.
Yeah, has announced that the 7th season is going to be its last season.
It's a great show.
It is a really good show, yes.
Yeah.
And actually, it's where the new Batwoman, Ruby Rose, was on that for a while.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so this is a hoot.
Okay, we're into Amazon now.
We're in Amazon, and the reason I'm bringing this up, and I'm glad, hopefully Nick is still there, Brightside, if you're there. I don't know if he and I even talked about this, but The Wheel of Time is going to be picked up by Amazon, and the first season is going to focus on Moraine, I think is how it's called.
Yeah, we talked about on the last show. We talked about that the pilot was getting picked up, and now they're picking up for series order.
Yeah, they're picking it up, and what I like about this is, although I think I read the first couple books of The Wheel of Time.
Right.
I started reading a ton of other fantasy stuff and never went back.
This is the Robert Jordan series,
This is the Robert Jordan series that Brandon Sanderson finished.
Oh, okay.
After he passed, and this is a nice bridge in the
segue,
gap with all the stuff we've been talking about. And I'm going to talk about something else, Brandon Sanderson, later. But I'm really intrigued to see how this goes. So if this gets picked up, I imagine I am going to go back and read all the Wheel of Time stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I love when high fantasy or epic fantasy gets picked up for a series, something like Game of Thrones, because
Exactly.
for fantasy lovers like myself, it's to be able to see that played out in how you kind of almost imagine it is kind of special. So,
Yeah, exactly. One more thing for Amazon that I actually didn't put in the show notes is just a reminder that, we already talked about the Daredevil comes out tomorrow. The second season of Aaron Mahnke's Lore comes out tomorrow.
oh, awesome. Yeah, good.
So if you haven't noticed, this is actually the rare podcast that I've gotten Marshall into, not counting Sans Pants. I still regret getting you into Sans Pants.
Oh, don't regret it. I love everything about it.
But no, Aaron Mahnke's Lore is just fantastic, and you can go to his website, theworldoflore.com.
Yeah.
But he already has a second podcast called The Cabinet of Curiosities.
The third one.
And then he has a third podcast, which Marshall's discovered that I haven't yet, called...
It's called Unobscured.
Cool.
And he's going to do, sometimes he'll touch on little things. And so what he does now with Unobscured is spend a whole season, like 13 episodes, talking about one subject. So the first season is focused on the Salem Witch.
And what have you been hearing about the Salem Witch?
Your freaking name over and over again because one of your ancestors is apparently a crazy person.
Totally crazy person. Actually, my fifth.
His name is literally yours.
It is first, middle, and last. My 15th great granduncle was a key figure in the Salem witch trials.
Okay, people are saying they can't hear me. Hello.
Can you hear me, or can you just not hear Marshall? Or
weird. What's the issue? I wonder. Hello. I'm getting picked up on the other thing. Will is great. I'm very faint. Oh, cool. Good news.
weird.
We have some new equipment. Hold on. Hello, is that any better?
And thanks for saying I'm great.
Hello, is that any better? I'm significantly quieter. Oh, good. I'm glad we're almost at the end of the show. People are telling me this. Thanks, guys.
Screw you guys, I'm getting him.
Hello, that's better? I'm closer?
Awesome. Okay. So
we're both a lot louder now, I think, but it's only been the last 2 minutes.
Oh, that's weird.
That is weird. Well, we do have some new equipment, guys, so thanks for bearing with us. So I want to go back super quick to something you were saying. What were you saying a second ago?
Lore got picked up for season 2.
Yes.
Season 2 comes out tomorrow.
Well, I was talking about Unobscured.
Yes. High fantasy.
I lost it.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings got picked up by Amazon too. Thanks for reminding us. Nick.
Awesome. Oh wait, that's what I was gonna go to. So somebody said, "Wait, why are we streaming on SWTOR?" Our numbers kept spiking. I don't know if you noticed. I think SWTOR might have hosted us early on.
Oh, interesting.
But I didn't notice it. But I'm not sure. So if you're here thinking we're streaming SWTOR, we're not.
No, we actually had SWTOR discussion at the top of our show.
Yeah. Am I still faint? Am I still okay? I usually speak really loud, and I think maybe I was trying not to speak really loud. Last 2 minutes, that's really weird. I feel like something's happening with the board. Okay, we're solid. Okay, let's move on.
All right, so
we're almost done anyway.
now we're into TV time. Why don't you tell people what you've been watching?
I love TV time. Do you know why I like TV time, buddy?
Why?
I like TV time because I get to talk about what the frick I'm watching.
All right, what are you watching?
We've been watching Doctor Who, bro.
How is the new Doctor?
Okay, the new Doctor is phenomenal. Oh my God, it's amazing. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to spoil anything. She is literally killing it. Amazing.
That's cool. I can't remember who I saw say it on Twitter. It might have been Felicia Day, might have been somebody else, but it's somebody high up in the femdom geekdom.
Oh, okay.
Right? That sounded weird, like I was trying to put it in a hierarchy. I'm just saying a big influencer.
Yeah.
And they're saying that Jodie Whittaker's fantastic.
She is fantastic.
The writing is a little weak because they're placing her character in female weaker positions.
I don't know Well, I wouldn't say that all the way, but what's interesting though is she actually doesn't show up for a little bit in the first episode. It takes her a little while to show up.
Right, she crashes into a train, right?
Yeah, she literally falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
Spoilers. I was trying to spoil things, but
Well, that's not
it's fine. So the point is, but the side characters are phenomenal already.
Oh, good.
The companions.
Do we have a black male character that's not going to die?
I hope so. We do have a black male character. We have a really diverse group of companions.
Awesome.
And
Do we have a robot dog?
And man, it was just a fun ride. And
good.
And I feel like it was just a really, to take Nick's word, it's a really solid start. And
good.
we're gonna watch the second episode tonight or tomorrow.
Nice. Yeah, I'm still way behind in Capaldi, so.
Yeah. Well, and what else am I watching? Thanks for asking. I started watching Castle Rock the other night while I was the night before my second round at Poppy. I think I got 20 minutes in and I fell asleep. But it wasn't because of the show. I was exhausted. My uncle came out like a half hour later. He's like, "Man, you were out."
That's funny.
He's like, "You're confused." I was like, by the time I woke up, I was in episode 3.
That's funny. This is Mark Bernardin's one of the
Mark
writers,
Bernardin wrote. This is the Stephen King universe.
Yes.
Castle Rock on Hulu, Amazon.
You know, did you hear? I watched a little bit of the Fat Man on Batman. Sorry, it's Fat Man Beyond now.
Oh yeah.
Episode, not the last one because the last one was all Bernardin, but the one before that.
I've been jumping around.
But they were talking about how somebody like Bernardin tweeted something and somebody tweeted back talking about how you should talk to somebody who knows something about Castle Rock or something like that. And I can't remember exactly what the response was, but he basically tweeted like,
"Yeah, I wrote it."
Right, exactly. But he did it in a trolling way.
Right.
And so he said that Hulu, was it Hulu or Amazon?
I can't remember.
Yeah, whatever one it's on, messaged him up and said, "Yeah, can you please not troll our content?"
Don't be that guy, Bernardo. We love you, but stop being that guy.
Exactly.
And that's why we have the picture up tonight of the 13th Doctor, because she's awesome. And watch the new Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I love her outfit. And just to give a quick shout out to
the way she figures out the outfit is really cool. And there's something really cool happens with the sonic screwdriver as well.
Oh,
but
cool.
Continue.
Just a quick shout out to her universe because they have a whole bunch of great Doctor stuff.
Absolutely. All right, what are you watching, dude?
Well, the last couple of weeks have been the beginning of the broadcast network season.
Mm-hmm.
So the new shows I'm watching, because I watch way too many shows, so I'm not going to go into everything I'm watching, but I'm just going to talk about the big new shows I'm watching. I'm really enjoying Manifest.
Okay.
Which is kind of like Lost, but a little
Josh's
bit.
been watching that. He said he likes it.
I like it. There's a new show about the FBI called FBI.
Okay.
And I enjoy that. It's got Missy Peregrine in it, who was in Reaper.
Oh, okay. Neat. That's cool.
Yeah. The new Nathan Fillion show, The Rookie. It's actually a little bit more dramedy than I expected.
I like Fillion, man, but I don't know.
He's good in it. I like it. And the supporting cast is really good.
I believe it.
And then I'm also watching New Amsterdam, which is...
I think you should watch more shows.
Which is a good new medical drama starring Ryan Eggold, who came from The Blacklist.
Nice.
And then there's a new comedy called I Feel Bad, and it's about a. Did you ever see? It's a really good Indian actress, and I can't remember her name. Indian, not Indian, Native American, and she basically plays a woman who feels bad constantly for not being a good enough daughter, or not being a good enough mother,
right.
And basically, so each episode is like saying, "I feel bad about this."
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's a pretty funny show. It's a good half-hour sitcom. And then there's a show that I literally just watched the pilot episode of yesterday.
Okay.
I had never seen Adam Ruins Everything before.
I've never seen it either.
And it's like on its 4th or 5th season now. And basically he just calls out the common things we all believe for being true that aren't. And
I'll have to check it out.
The first episode was about security. He's like saying the TSA do nothing at the airports, and that the child-proof seals on plastic pill bottles are not the main problem, and how signing for your credit card bills at restaurants don't do anything. And
that's cool. All right,
it's a pretty good show, and I like it. It's got Adam Conover is the guy's name. He's really good.
I guess now that you said that the shows have started. We were watching Superstore, Big Bang Theory, and I think those are the other two big ones. I love Superstore. You got to watch that. It's fun.
It's on my list.
All right. So let's get in. We got to get out of here, dude. We're going long.
Yeah, we just have a little bit of news. Casting news. Idris Elba has been cast to join the cast of Cats.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, and it's already has Taylor
guy's a
Swift is
talented
signed
dude.
on, a whole bunch of people. I think he's going to be if he is, because they haven't said who's playing what characters.
Right.
I think he would be a great old Deuteronomy, who's like
Okay.
the old statesman sort of cat. I think that'd be good. You've got some Mistborn news.
Do I?
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I don't. It's a Mistborn question mark. Okay, so the author of Mistborn obviously is Brandon Sanderson, and he wants someone called CD Projekt Red to make his game. So there's talk of, and I'm gonna just open this up. This company did The Witcher. Okay. And they made a game out of it. Okay. So the studio taking the Witcher series to new heights with popularity. It's understandable that the author would love their worlds to be brought in a new medium of entertainment as well. And basically he says, you guys might find this amusing. I read this thread last night at about 3:00 and came really close to posting. Dear CD Projekt, you can have the Mistborn rights if you want them. But this was looking like it would expose the thread, and I really didn't want to wake up several hundred replies in my inbox. I have to work. I have work to do today. So obviously Sanderson is really a popular writer, but at the same time, the Witcher games are really popular as well. So, and if you've never read Mistborn, it's a phenomenal. It would make a phenomenal game. So we'll keep you posted.
Cool.
I think that's kind of a good way to end it.
Awesome.
What do we got?
A couple other news things we've got is World War Z 2 is all set to shoot starting next year.
Nice.
And Brad Pitt and David Fincher are both coming back.
Oh, I actually didn't expect that.
Yeah. I knew Brad Pitt was coming back. I didn't think they would get David Fincher to come back, but he's doing it.
Cool.
Awesome. And then secondly, you put this one in.
I just threw this in today because it just popped up a couple hours ago or a few hours ago, and it said John Krasinski confirmed he's now writing a Quiet Place sequel.
Yeah, it's been mentioned for a while that he's been wanting to do a sequel. Now it's cool that he's actually getting words on a page. So that'll be really cool. It also came out. I didn't put this in here, but I saw an article today that said he actually played the creature. John
I heard
Krasinski
about that.
played the creature.
I
as well.
actually thought that was I had heard that, and I was like, really? Did he really, or are they just saying that? But that's pretty.
No,
cool.
it's very similar to like the fact that Benedict Cumberbatch also played Dormammu.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Do you want to wait on the Venom thing? And see if maybe I can see it. Or...
Hopefully you can see it. I'll just say a couple things.
Yeah.
It was better than I expected.
Okay.
Michelle Williams was terribly misused.
Okay.
I liked her.
I like Michelle Williams.
Yeah, I like her too, and I like her in this. But they could have used an Oscar-winning actress a little bit better.
Yeah.
Not enough meat for her to chew on.
I got you.
And then the thing is the post-credit scene, fantastic.
Okay. All right. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's definitely what you would expect going into a Venom movie.
Okay.
It's good. Right, last few pieces of news, we're going to circle back around to James Gunn because he's jumped over to DC and he has been signed on to write and maybe direct Suicide Squad 2.
I had to bite my tongue earlier because I didn't want to bring that around yet because I knew we would be talking about it, but at the same time, isn't that interesting?
I think he's great.
That DC's like, all right, we'll take him.
Yeah, why not?
Cool.
Exactly.
By the way, we need help with Suicide Squad. You want to do it? All right.
Seriously, and it's the perfect thing for him to do over there.
Exactly.
You did this one.
No, so here we go. So my kids love, especially my daughter, my oldest, loves Lilo and Stitch.
Right.
I mean, she has a Stitch sweatshirt,
Okay,
15 different
really quick.
Stitch dolls.
I'm a huge Disney fan. I used
Yeah.
to work for Disney. I'm actually wearing a Disney shirt right now.
Literally.
I don't like Lilo and Stitch.
Well,
I just did not enjoy it.
So there's some people in the chat room. I'm looking for a new podcast partner, someone who may or may not like Lilo and Stitch.
On the other hand, I love The Emperor's New Groove, and most people didn't.
I love that movie.
It's so great.
That's one of the funniest movies ever.
My sister can't stand it.
Oh, Nick doesn't like you now. Got him. Okay, so anyway, no. Okay, so Lilo and Stitch, Mike, I actually didn't really even, I never even saw the movie.
Right.
Until my kid was like, I saw this movie. Can we watch this movie, Daddy? I said, all right. And the fact that she loved it so much, and
yeah, that kind of helps.
And the connection with the obviously Lilo and Stitch between the two of them, and I think where I was coming from when I saw the movie was watching a struggling family, and I thought that to me was why I think I liked it more than maybe you might have or whatever.
Yeah, it could be.
But that said, a live action remake is coming.
Shocker.
Not shocker.
They're doing live action remakes of everything.
I'm worried about this one as well, but I think this one is a little easier to do. This one is you go to Hawaii, you shoot some stuff, and you put a CG Stitch in there and call it a day, right? I don't want to see the same movie again. But, I don't know. We'll see. I have some catching up to do.
You know what 2 live action remakes I'm waiting on?
What's that?
Sword in the Stone.
Oh, that one I would see.
And Black Cauldron.
Black Cauldron, though, dude, that is so dark. That
you want them to go
I
dark.
know I do, but I don't think they'll ever make that one. They won't make either one of those.
I would.
Sword in the Stone is hilarious, though.
Oh, it's great.
That one, I don't think they could pull that one off because there's so much playful animalness. It'd be all CG. You might as well just watch the cartoon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't think they can pull it off.
I don't know.
I'm underestimating Disney.
Probably. All right, now
probably. How dare you?
All right, so coming back to Game of Thrones, James Gunn, really quick. Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I think we should just come back to James Gunn every couple minutes.
I know, right? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 production has reportedly been pushed back to 2021. We already knew it had been pushed back.
It was pushed back indefinitely before that.
But now it's actually given a date. So
right. And Nick, you're right. Jungle Book. I actually haven't seen Jungle Book.
Oh,
the live action.
One
remake.
thing, actually, Jon Favreau posted a picture to Instagram, I think, this week, and because they're doing the looping for Lion King right now,
right?
Because he's wrapping up Lion King before he really gets big into the Mandalorian,
right.
But it was a picture of him with Donald Glover, who's playing Simba,
yeah,
and can't remember, was it Seth Rogen or Jonah Hill who's playing?
I think it's Jonah Hill.
I don't know. I think it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah,
is doing the voice of Pumbaa, and then I can't remember the other guy who's playing Timon. It showed all 4 of them at a mic.
Oh, that's good.
And so I thought that was cool.
That's cool. So I haven't seen the Jungle Book, and I feel like the reason only reason I didn't was because I was doing something, and my wife and kids went and saw it at the movie theater, and I just haven't sat down and watched it. Same thing that happened with Beauty and the Beast. And I tried to sit and watch that, and I turned it off. And
same with Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is just circumstance, my friend. I'm watching that tomorrow with my wife and kids.
Okay, cool.
I may skip this one.
well, going back to Guardians of the Galaxy really quick, the reason why this came out was, and this is where you kind of have to give Marvel props, is they actually contacted Sean Gunn, who is James Gunn's brother, who plays... who's a character in the Guardians movies.
Right.
Remember, he's the guy that gets...
is he the one...
He gets the fin at the end.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
And they basically just said, yeah, you're still here. You're still good, and we're shooting it in a couple years.
Oh, that's cool. All right. Neat. Just to end on a funny note.
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith, and I love Kevin Smith.
Which, by the way, he announced he's down to 198.
Yeah. He outweighs me by like 8 pounds.
Okay, I almost weigh 2 Kevin Smiths.
But
I weigh a Kevin Smith and a Ralph Garman.
And now, if you listen to his stuff now, it's funny. He actually did on the Ralph Report. They had a whole conversation on Monday, and it was basically him having to check himself every time he goes to call himself a fat man, because honestly. Although he says, he's got, the residual from what's there.
The skin.
He's not, if you look at him, dude, he's not what he was. Like, if you look in the back in the day, oh my goodness. But that said, he's a plant-based diet, and he loves this place called Veggie Grill. Yeah. So
which his daughter turned him on to.
Yeah. So he was going from St. Louis to Vancouver, and in a layover, he was talking about leaving the airport and going to Veggie Grill because he thought he had enough time to get back to his flight and not miss his flight. And everybody's saying, no, that's insane. So what he did was he went to social media and said, does anybody want to deliver me Veggie Grill? I'll pay you $200. And I have a link in the show notes. There's a guy who actually literally is like, well, I'm not doing anything. Went, picked him up Veggie Grill, dropped it off to him. They got a bunch of pictures together. It's actually really funny.
That's cool.
And the news cycle picked it up like in, wherever he was or whatever. Obviously, it's funny because, I mean, people are like, well, that's first world problems, blah, blah, it's this, it's that. It's like, yeah, but it's hilarious.
Yes.
It's like, if I could, I'd be like, I'm at the airport and I want Piaci pizza. Could somebody just bring it to me?
Exactly right.
And it's like, nobody's going to do that.
No.
But for Kevin Smith, for a couple pictures, somebody would do it, and $200.
You know what this reminds me of is remember when we were actually waiting for Kevin Smith at the American Comedy Company in San Diego a couple years ago, and there was the chick up in the window who was fake stripping for everybody, and then puts up a sign, "Bring us pizza."
Right. And I'm sure somebody brought them pizza.
Oh, I'm sure somebody.
I am sure someone did. Anyway, my friend, I think this is a great show. Again, we missed last week, but we're back this week, and next week hopefully we'll get Mr. Skeen on.
I'm glad we got your new best friend in.
Yeah, we got your replacement in there. Eventually, we have some projects in mind, and eventually you'll be fully replaced.
Okay, fine, awesome. Yeah, screw you.
So, thanks for tuning in to The Usual Podcast. If you have comments or questions, you can find us at theusualpodcast.com. Email us at theusualpodcast@gmail.com. And we're on Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. I'm at Darth Pops on Twitter, and Will is at IMO Griggs. We love it if you share us and tell your friends and all those kind of things. Rate us.
Rate us.
Are you 13 again?
Rate us.
Oh, nice. So support the show. teespring.com/store/usual podcast. audibletrial.com/usual podcast. Get a free audiobook on us. And of course, the best way to support us and get all the extra stuff is patreon.com/usual podcast. We have blooper reels, which there'll be several in this stupid show. There'll be early access to episodes and other things.
Continued access to the video stream,
Exactly.
trailer time videos.
Oh, trailer time stuff. Yeah,
all that fun stuff.
Thanks, RJ.
Yeah, and the best way that you can show your fandom for us is by having a fun.
Oh, by the gods. Have a fun, and we'll see you all next week.
Peace.
You're so stupid. I knew you were going there, and I was just like, is he going to do it that way? And he did. Thanks, guys, for joining us. People who said things, people who didn't say things, thanks for being in the chat room. I wonder if we had a weird influx. There was like 16 people in there at some point.
Yeah, that was weird.
Which is not really a thing that happens to us.
No.
But it's good for people who just joined us, like Mr.
Well,
Brightside
the fact that
Guardian.
we actually, some stayed with us. So,
Some stayed. Thanks, guys, for staying.
yes, thank you. And we didn't have some of our regulars tonight.
And now we're just awkwardly sitting here. Should we go?
Word.
No, seriously,
Right.
thanks everybody for being in the chat room.
Night, guys.
We will see y'all next time. Thank you. And sorry for the audio issues. That was weird. And now look, see, now it's lighting up, but that's because you're fucking around with the mic.
I was turning it on.
Yeah, well, here we are. All right, guys. Thank you. We'll see y'all later.